So, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, but law enforcement is losing their freaking minds. It's not just us out here in US. Letting criminals go, letting criminals go with no punishment. Going easy on criminals. Like, sympathy for criminals. Like, when they just blatantly, you know what I mean? Like, what is happening? Judges are supposed to be, the highest, held in the highest regard when it comes to enforcing law, right? You're a judge. Your judgment's supposed to be A1. Got 2 stories here for you. I need to get a mouse pad. Shit's hot. Hot. You know, where did people come up with this idea that you can't love someone until you love yourself? Like, where did this come from? And what is it rooted? What is it rooted in? I know it's like off topic, but like, I've just been thinking about this lately because, like, I don't know. I hear people say this shit, and it doesn't. I don't know. I just want to know where it came from and why it's being validated by people. How can you love someone else if you don't love yourself? What is that? I don't get that. What if you miss out on a perfectly loving relationship because you didn't feel like you loved yourself at the time? Like, maybe being in love with someone else can help you appreciate yourself. Because a lot of the growth that people have as internally comes from, like, being with another person and being able, and that other person helps you see yourself. Because let's you know what I mean? Let's keep it a bean. Like, people aren't great at being objective of their own actions and words. This, you know what I mean? It's like this narrative that, like, you gotta wait to make sure you love yourself before you can love anyone else. Like, I just don't know what the logic is. And I guess we're not talking about logic because it's love, but it's like, it definitely doesn't make any sense. Law enforcement, boy, it's just getting crazy. You ever judge a book by its cover and you're right? Here's 2 pages of one book that I'd like to judge. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, God. What do these 2 people do? I'm going to tell you what they did. They're an Idaho couple. I'm in Spokane, Washington. Idaho's like right over there. We're border town over here. These 2 were convicted of starving their adopted daughter, and they get no jail time. Interesting. I'll let you be the judge on whether you decide whether these 2 individuals deserve to go to jail or not. They're convicted of starving their adopted daughter. She went into cardiac arrest, and they're not going to serve any prison time. Why? Byron and Gwendolyn, which has got to be the ugliest name known to God. Gwendolyn. Byron and Gwendolyn Buthman slapped with 4 years of probation. I'm not even going to say it. And 300 hours of community service last Tuesday by Judge Darla Williamson. Let's call this chick out, Darla Williamson. I think you made the wrong call here. Who ruled that jail time would hurt the 4 adoptive kids they still have. So they have 5. They were abusing at least one of them. She almost had a heart attack and they were starving her. Yet they don't, you know what I mean? Let's not send these people to jail because it would take them away from their other kids. So what makes us think that they're not going to abuse their other kids? Were they? Let's find out. The judge initially withheld judgment, which means if the couple follows the rules of probation, their conviction could be vacated. It's like, bruh, what the fuck? A ruling that led to some gasps in the courtroom, the Idaho Statesman reported. The pair were convicted in June 2022. They were mistreating this young girl, and they were each in jail for one entire day. Oh, God. And they were credited with time served. Okay, 1 day is enough. You've suffered enough. That's basically what she's saying. The judge's decision comes after the prosecutor requested the Buthmans face 20 years. I'm on board with that, with at least 5 years in the slammer before parole could be considered. Yeah, that sounds appropriate. Prosecutor's office detailed the neglect and mistreatment the girl named, for the sake of exposing her identity, E.B. in court, faced under her adopted parents' care from age 3 to 6, including only allowing her to eat vegetable powder substance for food and sleeping in a laundry room without bedding. So were they not abusing the other kids? The girl testified she was so hungry that she ate toilet paper after she was locked in the bathroom. When you're that hungry, man, nothing makes any sense. Toilet paper is not nourishment. The girl is, somewhere between 3 and 6. It's not like she knows what real food is because they're feeding her vegetable powder. What is that? What is that? Where do you get it? How come no brand? Like, what? Who sells this shit? The depraved malnourishment and forcing the girl to stand outside in cold temperatures in just a diaper led her to go into cardiac arrest, October 2017. She's starving, freezing, and having a heart attack. Yet these two don't deserve to go to jail. That's what the judge said. The judge that's people appointed because her judgment was so A1. I certainly do not think that it is in any way an exaggeration to suggest that this was nearly a homicide. That's what the prosecutor said. Daniel Dinger, he's the prosecutor. Daniel Dinger, D. Dinger, double D. Dinger. Found guilty of felony injury to a child with an enhancement for producing great bodily harm, GBD, GBH, son. And a misdemeanor count of injury to a child. So the judge, Williamson, leaned toward the lighter sentence because she believed any more jail time could negatively affect the 4 other, yes, we know this. She said they're not the typical criminals she deals with in court. Putting them in jail would only be done to send a message to the public that people who do this sort of thing go to prison. So that's not the message we want to send? So we want to send the message, but we do want to send the message. Okay, so the judge declares that we don't want to send the message that when you abuse children and starve them and put them in freezing temperatures and they have a heart attack as a result, we don't want to send the message that these actions have any consequences, really, and definitely not jail worthy. That's not the message we want to send. That's the message I would like to send. Isn't that kind of the point, right? The person who commits a crime, they suffer, yes. And then we have laws so that people don't commit crimes. Because we're thinking, hopefully this jail time will prevent people from committing crimes. They appear to be taking care of the children that they do have. So she's sympathizing with them again, because the two might never get their old jobs back. Byron is a nurse. Gwendolyn is a teacher. And she states, this teacher, Gwendolyn, Miss Buthman, my children are my pride and joy. I love them very much. Well, enjoy your freedom. Next. Man who raped 13-year-old girl in park walks free from court. And this happened in Scotland, I believe. A man who raped a 13-year-old girl in a park when he was 17 has escaped jail after a judge said, I want this motherfucker's name. He did not consider a prison term appropriate. I don't think raping a girl, a 13-year-old girl, or anybody at any age for any reason at any time is appropriate. Sean Hogg, who's now 21, or at least 21 of the... this just happened not too long ago. This article was written 2 days ago. 21 was 17 when he attacked the schoolgirl on several occasions at the Dalkeith County Park between March and June. So this girl suffered between March and June in 2018 because he was attacking her. It's unclear how the pair knew each other. But court documents stated Hogg threatened the girl, seized her by the wrists, forced her to carry out a sex act before raping her. But that's don't punish him though. Don't punish him? How dare you punish him? What the fuck, dude? What about the girl? She knows that and her family. Even just sheer numbers, right? You throw this guy in jail, that's one person suffering. Well, no, that's more than one because she's suffering and her parents are suffering no matter what. You let him out. Now, it relieves him from his suffering. The girl is still suffering. There's potentially more suffering, and her parents are still suffering because her daughter got raped. The offender of Hamilton's South Lanarkshire wept in the dock as he awaited sentencing on Monday after being found guilty by a jury. Judge Jonathan Lake of the High Court in Glasgow said that if the crime had been committed by an adult over 25, Hogg would have received a jail sentence of 4 or 5 years. So in Scotland, if you're in front of Judge Jonathan Lake in Glasgow, you're free to rape up until your 25th birthday. Now we're going to punish you for 4 or 5 years. So after 4 or 5 years, we'll let you out and you can go back to raping. That's the message they're sending. So now it's a fucking free-for-all. You can just rape in parks and abuse little girls. As long as you're under 24, as long as you're under 25, we're good to go. We're good. We're not going to worry about it. You still have time to learn and be rehabilitated. We you know what I mean? Like, mercy for what, dude? What world are we living in now? New guidelines for sentencing under 25-year-olds were introduced in Scotland in January 2022, which made rehabilitation the primary aim rather than punishment. So what's the rehabilitation then? Rape rehabilitation? Judge Lake said rape was, quote, one of the most serious crimes, but went on to tell Hogg, for the level of seriousness, and this is a quote, I have to consider your liability and have regard to your age as a factor. For this offense, if committed by an adult over 25, you attract a sentence of 4 or 5 years. I don't consider that appropriate and don't intend to send you to prison. You are our first offender with no previous history of prison. You are 21. You were 17 at the time. So it's like, it's just kid stuff, yo. He didn't really mean much. He didn't know what he was doing. Prison does not lead me to believe this will contribute to your rehabilitation. Again, sympathy. Whether you agree or not, he's having sympathy for a guy who raped. So what about the rehabilitation of the girl who was abused for months on end and then raped? What does she get? So, he slapped him with 270 hours of community work. He's under supervision. And he must remain on the sex offenders register for 3 years? It's like, dude. Check this out. Contrast to Scottish court's leniency, a Louisiana man convicted of raping a child will be chemically castrated before his release back into society after serving 35 years behind bars. Let's fucking go. Ryan Clark, that's the Louisiana man convicted of raping a child, was 34. 34 was sentenced last month and must submit to regular injections to reduce his testosterone levels. That's weird, though. And disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein. It's like Weinstein when it's Weinstein, but if you take the W out, it's Einstein. Like, can't we all agree here? Harvey Weinstein looks set to spend the rest of his life in prison. I mean, this guy was, but you know what I'm saying? This guy had been raping for a long time. Who's this Louisiana man? Louisiana man to be chemically castrated after raping a minor. This ad's going to blow your ears out. Let's not do it. I got it muted. Prisoner convicted of child rape will be chemically castrated before his release back into society. So what does that mean? His dick don't work? What is chemical? Like, I know what, you know what I mean? I just want to know exactly what is going on during. Like, what chemical castration is castration via an aphrodisiac via, this is one word, anaphrodisiac drugs, whether to reduce libido and sexual activity, treat cancer, otherwise. I'm trying to get fucking, there we go, Webster. The administration of a drug such as medroxyprogesterone acetate to bring about a marked reduction in the body's production of androgens and especially testosterone. No, chemical castration may be used to reduce the sexual urges of sex offenders such as pedophiles. It's like the Twitter files, but the pedophiles. And in the treatment of prostate cancer, where it is typically called androgen deprivation therapy. Okay, but what's like the legs on it? Like, how long does this shit last? So, like, it just kind of makes you a sexual zombie? That's not the same thing as castration. Like, castration means your dick is gone. Not like the urge to fuck is gone. I mean, what urge do you have if you don't have a dick? But, you know what I'm saying? 35-year term. Cool, I'm okay with that. Probably getting raped in prison. That's the South. After admitting to a slew of felony charges, including second-degree rape of a juvenile, as well as the molestation of a juvenile under 13, and sexual battery. I blame OnlyFans, man. Dudes aren't getting laid out here. OnlyFans, bro. No, I'm just playing. Pleaded guilty on March 1st, sentenced on Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, this is him. I'm okay with that. I mean, come on, bro. Am I wrong? Should we be like, you know, come on, Scotland. Like, what the fuck's going on up there? If you're young enough in Scotland, it's okay to rape. This is not my opinion. These are the facts that this judge, at least this one judge, feels that if you're under 25, you know what I mean? Like, this is just boys will be boys. Nah, man, that's not what boys do. Boys aren't out here. That's not part of the young man experience. And it should not be, that's literally encouragement. Anybody who was thinking of raping, who would read that and is like, oh shit, like I might fuck. I'm bricked up right now. Like I'm about to, let's hit the park, boys. Let's go out there. Like it's fair game. Like we don't even have to waste time trying to impress women because we can just go to the park and grape them and abuse them in Glasgow. And until we're fucking 24, like it's all good. Am I wrong? Tell me how wrong I am in the comments. Tell me how much you agree. Subscribe to the goddamn channel. Hit the like bucket. Sink it. Have a wonderful fucking day, man. The Peso Mystic. Follow me on everything. Twitter. other stuff. It's been real.